What's up, YouTube? So today we're going to be going over some of the unconventional styles of training we do with our athletes, and we do a lot with sandbags. And we have here at the club, we have weights going anywhere from 20 pounds up to 160. We're going to be adding more in soon. We have medicine balls going up to 100 pounds. Going to be adding some heavier ones in there. Been looking at Atlas stones, but I mean, as of right now, as much as I want them, don't really have a place that's not going to destroy the concrete. We do have a section behind this wall here that will be outside. Might fill that up with some sand and get some good Atlas stone loading area going. But as of now, we don't have anything set up for that. But we do have the sandbags and the heavy medicine balls, and we use them a lot with our athletes. The main reason why I prefer using them with athletes is it hits the whole body in a real life motion that you don't know what's going to happen in sports, especially sports like football. Go to tackle someone, you're not always going to be hitting them in the perfect position. You train the kids for form, you teach them how to tackle correctly, but you never know what's going to happen on the field. And you want every muscle in the body to be ready to be able to take any type of hit or hit someone from any angle. So when we're dealing with athletes that are going to be in a position where their body's never going to be in the ideal situation, sandbags are huge with that. You're going to just be targeting every single muscle in the body every time you lift them. And you get a lot of the core going. You get parts of the legs that are typically neglected. I mean, the barbell can't hit everything. Dumbbells, kettlebells, they're not going to get every single part of the body. And they're not going to get that real life motion. And with stuff like this, when we got the 150 pound Rogue, I don't even know what they call this, it's just a giant sand ball. And then we got the 160 pound feed bag over here, is actually from the CrossFit Games, maybe like 2013, 2014. This one actually came fully weighted. Again, it was used at the CrossFit Games. I'm very fortunate that our UPS guy hasn't killed me yet, but we have a pretty decent relationship with our delivery guys, and these are just two of the heavier ones we use very often. But again, when we go from 20 pounds up to the 160, looking to get into the 200s very soon, it's something the athletes get very excited about, because you're going to have someone who they don't squat as much on the bar as some of their bigger teammates, but they've got that mindset, the overall muscle, lots of the stability, the core section, and you will be blown away by what some of these kids can do. And it's kind of funny. A couple years ago, I brought my 100 pound medicine ball into the high school I was working at, and we had a lot of the football players trying to pick it up and struggling. And when one of them put it down, they put it down where the 100 was hidden, and it was just a giant black ball with no markings on it. And we had a 17-year-old female athlete that was a crew athlete come in and was just like, "What's this?" I'm like, "It's just a medicine ball." And instantly she went down, she picked it up and stood up with it. She had no clue how much it weighed. Typically I wouldn't let somebody just try to lift something that heavy without bracing themselves for it, but it all happened too quickly. And as soon as I told the girl it was 100 pounds, all of a sudden the weight kicked in her head. But it's a very good moment for the boys to get a little humble. And for her, all of a sudden she is strong. She never believed she was until that moment. Picks up 100 pounds like it's nothing. She was deadlifting like 85 pounds before that, because she had this mental fear. I mean, she was a high school girl that never entered a weight room until like maybe 2 months prior. And then seeing what her body can do really got her hooked, and now she's off in college, rowing, and she got a scholarship. She's doing great. Sometimes you got to get away from the barbells. With going back to what we do with our athletes, we will do anything from just basic deadlifts with it, cleans with it, carries, bring it up to the shoulder, bring it down, sometimes up over the shoulder, on the ground, turn around, pick it up, see how fast you can go. It puts them in a more controlled state. As crazy as that sounds, I typically will see people do better form with these odd objects because it's something they do every single day. You go to pick up your sibling, your kid, your pet, groceries, whatever it is, you're gonna just get up on it and lift it correctly. Barbells, you know, I mean, how many, if there's any coaches watching this, how many times do you tell your athletes get closer to the bar? They go in the deadlift, they're about a foot from the bar, trying to get it up closer to the shins, and they're just mentally not getting it. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's just lack of knowledge, who knows? Sandbags, people get up close to them. And it's just, it adds a whole element of fun, which is, I believe, really big with the high school kids. If you're training high school or college athletes, or even just adults that are a little bit more excited, add fun, but functional fun. You know, I'm not saying go and play little games with them, but bring something in that's not the barbell. We also, like I mentioned earlier, we find these athletes that don't believe they're the strongest. All of a sudden, they're lifting these big, monstrous bags, but they're not even in the top 10 on the barbells. From that point on, their confidence is up, their ego's up, they're pushing themselves harder, and all of a sudden they're hitting PRs with the barbells, with the dumbbells, because they had something to prove to them that they're strong. And I can't really stress this enough. Get your athletes excited, get them feeling good about themselves, and find new ways to train them. Something, not so much with these ones, they're a little too difficult to handle, but our normal sandbags, if you have an athlete that is struggling to get lower on a clean, I found that the sandbags that, you know, the more cylinder looking ones with the straps, the more traditional sandbags, have them power clean that. And what I'll do is I'll have them actually rested on their feet because it's not that heavy, you can sit on their toes, grab the straps, go up, and then actually let go, duck under, and catch it. By doing so, they're training their bodies to go all the way up and then down. What do you tell them to do with the barbell? I mean, so many things just mentally don't kick in, but when they're going up with so much speed and then they let go and they can see that bag, still going up in the air, and they have no choice but to duck under it and catch it this way. Well, if you think about it, it is the exact same thing as going up with a bar, don't let go, but get under. And we do a lot with that with the sandbags when athletes are struggling to learn how to get low. But if you pay attention to our YouTube shorts this week, or at least this weekend, we're gonna be doing a lot of sandbags in here. You're gonna see some of the stuff we do. Probably just gonna be doing the heavier stuff this weekend, but you know, subscribe to us and you're gonna see a lot more stuff with the weird things that we own. The new gym we have here on the farm is loaded with a lot of the traditional things, you know, barbells, plates, kettlebells, dumbbells, and then a lot of the more out of the box stuff that you won't find at most gyms. There's a reason why we attract athletes, and it's because we're not a big box gym. We are a very sports focused facility that has equipment that you're just not going to find most places. And fortunately, where I grew up, the gym I went to, they had strongmen, they had powerlifters, they had Highland game athletes, and I got exposed at a young age to a whole endless amount of just what some people consider weird circus type equipment. For me, it was just standard. You go in there, somebody's flipping a tire, and this was before CrossFit when nobody knew what like flipping a tire was. The sandbags, just, you know, I was one of the only people training with bands and chains in my high school back in the 90s and early 2000s because it was just normal where I went. I didn't go to the big gyms that, you know, have chest machines, some barbells that are crappy barbells. So plus side is I got exposed to stuff at a young age. Downside is gets expensive very quickly. But, you know, subscribe to us and you're gonna see some of the cooler things we own, some of the more unique stuff. But this weekend, it's gonna be all about sandbags and probably cleaning. Got a little extreme, we've been at an installation this week, but up until last weekend, we had a bunch of baby chicks, like chickens that we were raising in here. We just moved them outside, so there's still a lot to clean up from there. You know, the gym's on a small farm and there's always something a little strange going on inside these walls. All right, well, thanks for watching. See you next time.